Hey everyone. Um, Eddie Eagles first. Lee Wills, cheese cracker, 5 people. How can there be five? Oh, now there's 38. Wow. It's exciting. So I'll try to get Ham on. And I'll try to get but he's still, as you heard yesterday, he's got obligations. Let's just quickly go around the league for the scores. ZJYL is it down $1.23 at 525. HNRC red, but it really is unchanged at 2 cents. T-Low hits a new low, down 72 cents at 650. I think both T-Low and ZJYL are pulling back, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's a bit of rope-a-dope because the underlying story hasn't changed. So I personally think both T-Low and ZJYL will be up dramatically, possibly as early as next week. HNRA is up 80 cents. The plunderers of Wall Street drove the stock price below 2, did a deal, and now they can let it go. At $4, I think that's a $10 stock. HNRA. That's the previous Pogo Producing Properties, or it's called LH Producing or something, but Pogo Properties in New Mexico. Finger is down 11 cents at 221. Let me shoot. Let me see who else is interesting here. We'll look at GTII, 29 cents. It's in the green. GDC in the green at $1.40. I also think that stock has strength. MAT, what a great company, but I think the financing might have hurt it. It's down 15 cents at 189. And I don't know what the last reverse split was. I can't remember. We can look it up if it's interesting. We can figure out what it is per share. I do have CRTD here. It's in the red a bit at $8, but that's that guy is implementing the plan he had, which seems to be going forward well. Logic is at 2.5 cents, and it's somewhat red. And that's all the stocks I have on my out of town scoreboard. DBMM. All right, let me look at DBMM. .006, so it's up 0.001. I would have to say that that's no longer in the position where it was for a long time as being seller boxed. I would say that's, I mean, these stocks are in the dog end of the pool, but they're the ones that give us the most potential returns. I'm going to, let's see. Hey, Darren Collins. I know. Yeah, I think you can still buy HNRA. I think HNRA, I don't know if it's ever going to become a dividend stock, but that is going to be a steadily growing cash flow company. And what oil and gas companies are measured by, the metric, not earnings, not revenues, not even necessarily. I mean, obviously, it all derives from production, but the metric is cash flow per share. And HNRA is going to have good cash flow per share. I think the plunderers have done their destruction, and I don't think that HNRA is ever going to need to go back to the markets again at sub $2 a share, which is just stealing, by the way. Whoever did that knew it was worth more, drove it down, convinced them to issue. But hey, that's life in the fast lane, and we have to just the financial engineers make sure they get rich first. But we have to live in that system. We have to live within that way of raising financing. And HNRA, I think, is a $10 to $15 stock. And I don't know when. I would guess before September, it'll be 3x maybe from here, $4 to $12. It's not bad. It's not a squeeze play, but it's not bad. I'm going to read from this book just a little bit. These are the plunderers, just a few pages. I picked it. I don't remember what these pages say, but she has a note to readers, which I read, but I'm going to read it out to you guys because what we are fighting and what CEOs are fighting is an entrenched level of greed unheard of in history in terms of its breadth and its capability to steal and rob. I don't know. I'm not enough of a biblical student to understand if these human desires for money are written up in the Bible, and if other characters before God's judgment were as greedy as these men. But let me just read on page 25, a note to readers. My eyesight's not so good. In the days when pirates roamed the seas, they boarded ships armed with cutlasses and muskets and took what they pleased. Modern privateers, known as the private equity industry, plunder without physical violence, commandeering businesses armed with spreadsheets, debt financing, and high-priced lawyers. What she's talking about are the big hedge funds. What I notice is the guys we're fighting, it's the same basic ingredients of greed. They operate mostly within the letter of the law, some of which they have helped to craft. The loot these latter-day pirates carry off is infinitely richer, and the havoc their pillaging visits upon their victims and on society is widespread and profound. It's said that in Washington, the real scandal is what's actually legal. The same is true on Wall Street. This is a book about modern age plunderers, a relatively small group of financiers whose unrelenting pursuit of profits extracts wealth from the many to enrich the few. Let me read that again. A relatively small group of financiers whose unrelenting pursuit of profits extracts wealth from the many to enrich the few. It is about a business model that is pernicious and growing, and that widens the wealth gap in this country. Some might argue that our current state of capitalism, or much of it, is also this way, that greedy CEOs and the corporations they run wreak equal havoc on their workers, pensioners, and stockholders. To a degree, this is true. Examples of unchecked capitalism among public companies exist and generate outrage when they emerge. And even when caught with their hands in the till, white collar criminals generally receive gentler punishments when they are penalized at all. I catch on some of the words because this eye doesn't work and the letters are sometimes bleary, and I'm not that good a reader anyway. But the pirates we've singled out tend to be more rapacious in their dealings. Public corporations can be constrained somewhat by shareholders whose interests they must at least pretend to consider, and their public disclosures are pored over by investors, reporters, academics, and policymakers. And when these stakeholders get riled about something, say the health of the planet, some public companies have responded with change, not as quickly as we might like or as comprehensively, perhaps, but change does occur. This has not been the case with private equity firms. The companies they own are private and make few, if any, regulatory disclosures. Although many of the firm's parent companies are public, their founders and top executives control so much of the stock that they have little need to listen to outside holders. If the occasional client, a public pension fund, for example, tries to hold them to account, they threaten to ban them from future deals. Amazingly, weak-kneed pension overseers buckle under, viewing this punishment as a prospect to be avoided. The marauders answer to almost no one. Their billions generate fawning press reports and shield them from criticism, allowing them to spend fortunes on lobbying and other tactics to manipulate outcomes and public opinion. They justify their activities based on the purportedly positive investment returns they generate. Quote, "We're helping pensioners achieve a prosperous retirement," unquote, they say. While that may have been true years ago, more recent data shows private equity's returns are no better than a low cost and transparent Standard & Poor's index fund that invests in public companies. The model of acquiring a company, loading it with debt, cutting costs to pay that debt, extracting cash along the way, and selling it in 5 years is capitalism on steroids. Short-termism to the max. It is greed wrapped in the American flag of efficiency, looting justified by solid investment returns. It is also a business model shrouded in secrecy. Even regulators have difficulties penetrating these operations' labyrinthine corporate structures. Their complex capital stacks and shared interests. Let me just stop there and remind you again. I do a little bit of guessing as I'm reading because it gets blurry. And so I apologize when I make a mistake. That was the end of the sentence. Litigants hoping to hold these firms to account face an uphill battle. To tell this story, we have recounted a handful of cases where companies were ransacked, workers fired, pensions devastated, and customers and taxpayers harmed, all generated enormous gains to the financiers. Some of the deals were singled out as exemplary by the firms and celebrated on their website. Although we examine transactions involving the major firms, we focus more closely on Apollo. It has the reputation of being the most aggressive of the large firms, but we also home in on, I think that should be hone in on, but do you say hone in or home in? Anyway, we also home in on it because private equity is the direct successor of the junk bond fueled takeovers favored by Drexel Burnham Lambert. Apollo's key founders sprang from that firm and from that era. Obviously, not every private equity deal has all these perverse components, and not every transaction enriches just the deal makers. But many of these takeovers have done enough harm to other stakeholders that an examination of the firm's practices holds some urgency. The American Investment Council is the main U.S. organization lobbying and advocating for the private equity industry. Its website teems with superlatives about the benefits private equity bestows on the economy and the industries in which it invests. One of its claims: private equity is improving healthcare. Reams of unbiased academic research and a rising number of practitioners say otherwise. We asked the council to identify deals it believes characterize the positive impacts its industry has on all stakeholders. We hope to learn about transactions that generated gains, not just for the deal makers, but for everyone involved. Topping the list was Tate's Bake Shop, a tiny specialty cookie maker purchased in 2014 by Riverside Company, a small private equity firm. I just bought some of these cookies the other day, last week, Tate's Bake Shop. And when I opened it up, I was shocked to find there were only 2 sleeves of cookies, not 3. And I think it was a total of, I added it up, either 12 or 14 cookies. But when you bought it, you thought it was the same size as last year. Anyway, Tate's had an estimated 12 million in revenues and fewer than 100 workers before it was taken over. But its private equity owners helped to quadruple its sales and earnings, Riverside said. In 2018, it was sold to food conglomerate Mondelez International for $500 million. Another exemplary deal, according to the council, involved the Cosmopolitan Casino in Las Vegas. Blackstone purchased the property in 2014 and sold it for a $4.1 billion profit in 2021, the firm's single best performing investment. $4.1 billion profit in 6 years, 5 to 6 years. In an example of how private equity spreads the wealth, the council said, in 2022, as the casino was set to change hands, Blackstone gave each worker a $5,000 bonus. Hilton Hotels was a third highlight deal, also involving Blackstone. The purchase, which took place in 2007, reaped Blackstone a gain of 3 times its investment when it sold the chain in 2018. Finally, the council cited Blue Yonder, a software company bought out by Blackstone and New Mountain Capital in 2010 and sold in 2021 for an $8 billion gain. The deal involved a longer holding period than is typical, and although another large company was acquired and combined with Blue Yonder, New Mountain said 5.7 billion of the 8 billion gain came from internal growth generated by the company, by Blue Yonder. Most of the transactions the council identified generated enormous profits to the firms involved and their investors. This is the most common measure of success by which private equity judges itself and is a throwback to the now dubious tenet of modern day capitalism that investor profits are all that matter, regardless of the cost to other stakeholders. In researching and writing this book, we spoke to dozens of people, those who are knowledgeable about the ways of private equity or who have been directly affected by these firms' practices. We consulted thousands of pages of regulatory documents, government and private lawsuits, bankruptcy court proceedings, research from government agencies, public pension reports, and unbiased academic research. We excluded the work of academics that advise the industry or have close ties to it. We have also relied on trustworthy media sources. A few of our sources requested anonymity, which we granted so that they could speak freely and without fear of reprisal. We tried to talk to the principals of the major firms: Henry Kravis, Steven Schwartzman, David Rubenstein, Leon Black. Only Black gave his initial consideration to our request, his spokesman said, but then he never got back to us. To the degree we received comments or views from the firms whose deals we examined, we include them. For example, 5 Apollo deals are detailed in these pages. Asked for comments about them, the firm responded with information on just 2. Its spokeswoman said our request, quote, illustrates a misunderstanding of many of the facts surrounding the transactions, unquote, and noted that some are over 30 years old. Quote, we strongly encourage you to refrain from publishing false and misleading information, unquote, she added. Quote, regarding Apollo, funds managed by the subsidiaries of Apollo Global Management and their respective transactions, unquote. Quote, for those points unaddressed, unquote, the spokeswoman said, quote, you should not consider it a confirmation of validity. In several cases, it is either not clear what information you were requesting from us, or you were requesting information that is confidential to Apollo funds managed by subsidiaries of Apollo Global Management, Inc., and or their respective investors, unquote. Our interactions with Blackstone were also notable. Perhaps the premier U.S. private equity firm, it featured in 3 of the 4 exemplary deals cited by the council. Asking for the firm's input, we described our book's thesis involving broad harm caused by private equity practices. Its spokesman provided the statement, quote, the false narrative underlying your book is based on a 1980s caricature of the industry that is contradicted by the facts, unquote. This sounded familiar, and an internet search found this very same phrase, a 1980s caricature, provided by Blackstone to the Washington Post in 1921 for a story it reported on private equity predation. The Blackstone statement went on to note that the firm is, quote, proud of the positive impact we deliver for our investors, portfolio companies, and communities in which we operate, including adding 200,000 net jobs at our portfolio companies over the last 15 plus years, unquote. The spokesman also said that the firm's nearly 1,000 companies have rarely failed. Blackstone's bankruptcy rate is 0.2%, he said. Just as Blackstone had asked us to provide documentation underlying our questions about its operations, which we did, we asked Blackstone for the data backing its bankruptcy rate and claim of adding 200,000 net jobs. The spokesman, quote, respectfully, unquote, declined to provide it. Blackstone did hire a law firm which represented the Sackler family of opioid fame and is known for targeting investigative journalists to send us a letter in the fall of 2022. In it, the lawyer expressed concern that our book would, quote, present a false and misleading narrative about my client, specifically to paint them and private equity firms more broadly in an untrue light, unquote. KKR's spokeswoman was more succinct, quote, as you might expect, we disagree wholeheartedly with the overarching premise of the book, unquote, she said. The last two paragraphs. American capitalism is supposed to enrich the many. And it is critical, of course, that enterprises and their investors are rewarded when they create jobs and prosperity across the United States. But privateers are not entrepreneurs. They borrow money to buy existing companies and shuffle ownership and obligations, often sucking out cash and reordering companies' capital structures to their benefit. They can and do destroy jobs, ravage pensions, and deplete tax bases. There is a chance that these raiders' romp is nearing an end. But we can count on them and their enablers to work overtime, ensuring that their power and practices remain entrenched. What the future holds for these pillagers is up to Congress, the American people, and this question. Is there enough outrage over the hardships and inequities their activities produce to create change? It just sounds so similar to our statue that I wanted to read that to you. All right, let's start at the top because starting at the bottom looks treacherous. Looks a little treacherous. Let me text the hamster, make sure he knows I'm live. I forgot to do that actually. Whenever he calls in, he'll call in. And I'm probably going to stop at 4:00 unless it gets so exciting. He's going to call in 5 minutes. Aren't you lucky?
Battery 100%.
Aren't you
Connected
lucky?
to Bill's iPhone.
So, hey, Eddie Eagle, Lee Wills, Cheese McCracker, Saber Data, Michael Contrero, John Wydell, Girth Mike, Diego, Cliff Duran, Lockup, DJ Yukon. Lucky's asleep. Oh, I think Lucky's out on the deck. He likes to sleep out in where he can smell things. Buenas tardes. My thing froze. It's frozen. So I don't think I can highlight anymore. All right, I done froze. Can somebody find me? Somebody. Hey, Kendall. Somebody to love. Can anybody find me? Well, Ryan, on ZJYL, I remain optimistic on it. I think whoever they is, let it come back to them like a rope-a-dope, Muhammad Ali, rope-a-dope. Let it come back to 5. And I think it can. I'm not so sure about this week because today's Thursday. I don't know what happens on a Friday. So maybe next week we can start to have a move in ZJYL, possibly JDC, TELO. These are just sitting there to move up. So they stopped. They have all the tricks. You can still buy HNRA. Hey, Red Pepper. Hey, Daryl Collins. It's still halted in IBKR. Wow. Hey, Ambi. $20,000% in DBMM. So let's start following that GTII, because the CEO, I forget her name right now, she has always been a fighter against specifically Kurt Kramer and his crew. Hi, Barbara. They're still halted. I didn't know that. Hey, Donna. Hey, KYP. Can't wait to drive up to Brooklyn and watch Ham versus KYP. KYP. I actually think you guys should have a doubles team. Don't be across the net. Be on the same side of the net. Not halted on E-Trade. You don't want to pull a hammy. Very clever, very clever, very clever. I think you're right about IBKR being somewhat sketchy as a player. I'm moving quickly down here because Ham's going to call in at any second. GNS halted, AI merger. Yeah, I don't know. Good for Roger Rabbit. There is a video. Oh, great, Paul. I'm going to listen to it. There was an update I saw, which was last week, but that prospectus for CAUD came through, and they didn't sell that many shares. And I think it looks good on my first read, but I didn't study it closely. I couldn't find a toxic formula in it. It is a pipe, but on the face of it, it looks good. The shorts cannot be beat in any stock. Well, Lafi, that could be, although that doesn't explain the 24 stocks in Southeast Asia that all had squeezes. Doesn't explain some of the others, but overall, if you take a set of time, the subset where squeezes happen, it's a small fraction of that time. So there's a lot of waiting, but hey, I can't argue with your logic, Laffy. Nobody, they're not enforcing the hey PS 71. Nobody is enforcing the rules. Well, more than cash drying up is confidence could dry up. And when everyone acts like a herd of cattle and runs one way, that can bring the change that these people don't want. Yeah, Mark, I agree with that. I'm trying to go quickly here because if Ham calls, I can't go through them. Next time you talk to Ham, can you ask him? Hey, they're still working on it. I don't know who. And I guess it's secret. Yeah. It's just tragedy. And I think I don't know what's going on with Boeing, but I wouldn't be surprised if private equities involved there. Hey, southeastern pressure. Hey, I don't mind back and forth, but let's try to keep it without getting anybody's blood pressure up. ALD. Um, hey, Pat, how are you? How are you? I'm a trader. Yeah, I'm thinking these dips do set up in finger GTII, ZJYL, GDC. The list I have it over there. What the stocks that we looked at the beginning or the end of the year / beginning of the year. Hey Saber, C Hunter. Hey Robert Sugano. Pilot to the moon. Keep your eyes on those Boeing parts. Don't let the flapper go on automatically, whatever that thing is. T+1. I didn't see the email. My thoughts about T+1 is what difference does it make? They didn't settle on T+5, T+4, T+3, T+2. Why are they going to settle the trades on T+1? I think if somehow you could cause a settlement 30 minutes before the trade is posted, they still wouldn't settle. I think it's a distraction, but that's my opinion. Well, that's Planet Finance. I mean, there's no question it's algorithmic trading. You don't have trading desks, you don't have uh, market makers per se, specialists. You don't have a specialist. When's the last margin call I witnessed? You mean other than my own account? Yeah, that's what CJ Yukon, that's what I'd like to do. And I'm actually trying to set up initially it would have to be a small company. build its cash flow, and then be a source of financing in the resource space primarily, but hopefully a broad enough remit that it could be any company. But as with anything, it's hard to get the first investors into the pool. And I don't know what's an amount of money that makes it significant enough to work. But I think once I get enough money in, once there's cash flow, it'll become ever easier. Also, I intend to fly with Ham over to ultimately South Korea, but maybe a stop in the UAE, stop in Singapore to see if we can do just what you're talking about. I think it's brilliant. Your idea is brilliant. Hey, Ellie Belly. My niece, Ellie Belly, she's grown up. She just got accepted at the United States Naval Academy. Can you believe that? She's now going to the United States Naval Academy in the fall. Eleanor, but Ellie Belly, as we call her. Fly in Airbus aircraft. Well, Boeing used to be great aircraft. It's just that they got this new guy in who sacrifices quality and safety for metrics, which to me don't matter if you end up in heaven instead of in Detroit. Hey, Flora. You're driving. You're driving and I'm making you crazy. Let me see what the stock prices are doing. We've got to check the scores. I'm so bummed that I'm so discouraged that Novak Djokovic was lost. I don't know, his focus wasn't there. But the lucky loser lost yesterday. So Djokovic would have won. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't see any green. I'm checking these stocks, but I don't see any green. Let me check HNRA. Maybe that's where the green is. There's green there. It's up 83 cents, 390 HNRA. Look, $4, I think, is still a good price. That stock was worth $58 a share on a simple calculation. You had to haircut that. But it's highway robbery that the plunderers got that stock down below $2 to raise money. It's going to go up now. Now that they are long, it'll go up. All right, Ham's getting a juice. Then he's going to call in. So anyway, on CAUD, I'll try to do a separate video, time life video. They did, best I can tell, they did get approval for this prospectus on March 8th for 5.4 million shares. So they are going to increase the amount of shares outstanding, which, as you know, I argue that if they could have kept the price of the stock up in the $10, $12 range, you wouldn't have this many shares issued. On the other hand, we got to live with where we are. And the prospectus, which I'll go over in a video, does an excellent description of the companies who they have acquired. And I think it lays out a pretty exciting future. Well, now wait a minute. Number of shares outstanding prior, 13.7 million. Number of shares outstanding after the offering, 13.7. So it's not increasing. It's not increasing the number of shares at all, this particular offering. So let me read it and not talk off the top of my head, but I'll try to do a video. I'm excited by what Collective Audience has ahead of it for its fundamental story and its business opportunity. All right, so Center is beating Lehecka 5-3, and it makes Center look. It looks like Center will win Indian Wells maybe, but then tonight you have Zverev playing Garcia, and I don't know. I think Zverev could beat Alcaraz, believe it or not. And then at 3:30, T. Paul plays C. Rude. T. Paul is sitting in where Djokovic should be right now. But anyway, I think Rude will beat T. Paul. And then you have Medvedev Rune. And believe it or not, Rune might challenge Medvedev. But out of these 8, I pick Medvedev to win it all. Not Sinner, not Alcaraz, Medvedev. Medvedev. All right, let's see what other questions you have. There's also green in South Carolina because the pollen is falling. Yeah, flying bus driver. Hey, kitties never die. Northern Ontario. Isn't that where Ottawa is? Isn't that the capital of Canada? Tilo is all right, Miles. I think Tilo's going to be fine. Let me see where Tilo is trading. It's down 72 cents, 650. No, Miles. I'm not a big wig, but I think these stocks, like I said to you, I think there's some electronic rope-a-doping going on, and they're pulling back, like you pull back a slingshot. And let's just see. Don't give up on Tilo. Don't give up on ZJYL. Don't give up on GDC. And I'm starting to hear I'm starting to hear some good rumblings possibly out of GTII, and we can't give up on Finger. And, maybe we've been through the valley of darkness and now we're in the great uplands of hope. I go with Mike Tyson. I don't know who Jake Paul is, but I go with Mike Tyson. That guy is built like a brick house. Timmins, you're up where it's cold and where the ground undulates with the change in temperature. 1 for 500,000 reverse split. It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. First you take away everything he has and everything he's gonna have. It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. Yeah, it's 0.0001. Well, they're trying to bust it out. We tend to get upset with the CEOs and we tend to blame them. But in my opinion, it's not really on the CEOs. It's on the regulators. It's on Adina Friedman to have a clean, transparent marketplace, which she gleans $2 million a month off of. But she doesn't. She doesn't care. She's not even interested. She's not even interested. Yeah, never surrender. That's Winston Churchill. Never surrender. There was also a book I read. I think it was by that guy with the big head and the big hands and the big feet that Bill Clinton liked. I can't remember him, but he's a optimistic speaker. I can see him. I just can't think of his name. But I think it was in one of his books, he told the story of this little girl. And I don't even remember the scenario much. All I remember is the girl kept saying no, and she wouldn't say yes. She stood her ground. And ultimately, it's only we who can surrender. It's only we always have the choice to not surrender. That's true. They get more senators. That's true. But also the no ID, you know, there's nothing in this country anymore that you can do without an ID. You can't set up a brokerage account online. You can't set up a bank account. You can't get on an airplane. You can't enter restaurants which serve alcohol. You need an ID. Everybody has an ID. I personally think it's racist when Democrats say that somehow African Americans are unable to get an ID. I think it's really perverse. But I think the reason they're pushing that angle is so that these 11 million people who aren't illegal, because no person is illegal, but these people who have come in, and we obviously know they've all come in for good reasons because we didn't screen them. So they must be here for good reasons. Anyway, that's 11 million people that can vote that aren't even citizens of the United States. That's what I think is happening. But what I think might surprise them is they're not going to vote for Joe Biden. I liked Martina Hingis, although she had a grunt that was quite annoying, but that has since been surpassed by many others who grunt. I don't know. I think that might be. Martina was great, but when she got stabbed, that was terrible. Uh, uh, I don't watch a lot of the women's tennis. Um, just you don't have enough time to watch everything. But uh, uh, I stopped watching pretty much in the Sampras era because it was just serve, volley, done. And then I didn't really watch a lot of the Federer because he had an easy path for several years. It was really easy for him. But when it got competitive, and then and Djokovic, I really liked. CJYL closed a massive gap, and that's good. Mind the gap. Mind the gap. Bill Money. Wow. Good, Robert. AST did receive your shares. That's great from Schwab. That's awesome. Yesterday, I was trying to show, I didn't erase it yet, but I was trying to show that I think in a conservative way, the Nextbridge shares might be worth about $50 a share right now, might be in an acquisition right now, if there were one, $50 a share. That's as conservative. I tried to haircut everything, then cut it even further. The only thing I didn't change is the acquisition price at $30 a barrel. But everything else, I just chopped it lower, lower, lower. And I still came up with $50 a share. I think a settlement could be Tony Robbins. You're right. So anyway, everyone says, when is it going to be resolved? I love that you did it. You can resolve your own situation right now by moving the shares out of the lying brokerage firms and put it in the honest Nextbridge private company. Secondly, I would try as much as possible to change the message to yourself that you've lost everything in MMTLP. I don't believe that. I think if you can get it over to Nextbridge, you are going to be nicely rewarded for that investment. And I'm still waiting to find out if my shares transferred. Lucky is getting very old and very slow, but he's doing, I guess he's outside. Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. No retreat, no surrender. Yeah, but migrants, let's not get upset with the migrants. I'm not disagreeing with you. But remember, it's trillions of dollars that the banksters are stealing from you. It's trillions of dollars that are being sent offshore by these counterfeiters without paying taxes. And that's according to the article we've read many times live. So we can get all focused on these personal things, but let's not forget what's really happening. The very narrow 1% or 0.5% is looting our country while the dollar still has value. And as they turn us against each other, Democrats versus Republicans, gay versus straight, tall versus short, old versus young, Redskin fan versus Commander fan. As they do all that, they're distracting us from the thieving that's happening on a scale I don't think's ever existed before in human history. Oh, I was talking about Monica Seles. Who were you talking about? Martina Hingis. Yeah, I can remember Martina Hingis. And did Martina not grunt? I thought she did grunt, but you're right. Monica Seles is who got stabbed. You're right. You are right. Mike Tyson is 60. I don't think he's going to win. He's going to do it just for the money. How much money is he getting paid? That woman, Robin something, that married him for 6 weeks, she got $6 million. Must be nice. It's like Rodney Dangerfield says, being a hooker, what a business that is. You have it, you sell it, you still have it. I know you can't say those jokes anymore, but he got away with it back then. Mine cost $60. If you leave them at your broker, you're going to end up. I own the Torchlight MMTLP dividend shares, not the ones you were able to buy. Yeah, but I don't know why Mexican you would take this is my opinion. You can have your own opinion. I don't know why you would take the risk of leaving it at a firm who just deals in non-existent shares by their prospectus, as far as I remember. As soon as the plane is full, right now you have MMTLP dividend shares, as you call it. Why? Because there are shares at Nextbridge still available. Once those shares at Nextbridge are all gone, what you're going to be left with is a chit that says MMTLP, and it's only going to be worth what lawyers can get for you or what the financial system decides to settle with you for. And I've done videos where I think the number's huge, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. There's no guarantee. I think you've got a lot of positives. You've got the big guys, and they're all men, working on your side. I personally think the brokerage firms have to settle. They can't let this not be settled. But if I were you, I don't understand why you would take that risk. I would move them in a heartbeat. But having said that, if you leave them, I think that there will be a settlement. You will earn at some point a payout on that settlement, in my judgment. I would just rather own the shares of Nextbridge. What you're going to do, Mexican, you owned Torchlight. I bought Torchlight. I own Torchlight, but I didn't keep it through the X date. You're going to let a guy like me come in and buy the shares on the open market, transfer over to AST, and I'll actually own shares where you were one of the original buyers of Torchlight, and you're just going to have a chit that says, hey, wait a minute, I have a seat on that plane. Don't take off. I have a seat. I wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't. I don't know why, the Ronald Reagan expression, trust but verify. I don't know if that works. I would rather be in the verify category than in the trust category. But I've just been hurt by trusting people. It's going to be a fight will end. I would like it to end. Well, I've noticed that a lot of the younger single men are Chinese. It doesn't mean they're bad. We don't know. That's all we don't really know. But I've often wondered if certain politicians have been bought by the Chinese government, because I'll tell you what, a lot of things you look at it and go, what's going on here? Why is this allowed? If we were at war, a lot of the things that are happening around the United States would look like sabotage. What if we are at war? I don't know. And there's a general that did a war game study. I forget his name, retired. He said if we go to war with China, they're going to hit us here on this land. And I think if the Middle Eastern war expands or the Ukrainian war expands, we're going to get hit in the United States. And all of a sudden, we're going to find out what war is really about. That's why we got to pray for peace. We just don't need to make an enemy out of Russia. We really don't need to make an enemy out of China. China has a huge head start on us out of our own stupidity. We decided to squander our resources, bombing deserts, which leads nowhere, assaulting Asian mountains, which leads nowhere. That's our fault. We can't blame that on anybody else. But there's no reason why we can't work with China, work with Russia. There's no reason. Now, the banksters don't like that because the banksters are in the process of getting really rich. Hey, Jennifer. Barbara. Started transfer from Scotia today. They didn't have a clue. I started my E-Trade transfer, I think 5 weeks ago, maybe 6. I should try to look it up. Transfer, Mexican, transfer. Worst case, they say, and that's what I'm expecting in my case, they're going to say we couldn't get it done, but we'll see. But worst case, I can tell a lawyer, look, I tried, I did everything I could, and then I think that'll be good. JB Morgan, 348 million. Nothing, Joel, nothing. But it's at least it's I'll try to look up the news story. I was thinking about transferring but got scared. Well, I can tell you, Jennifer, when they ship, they want you scared, number one. But number two, I was concerned when they shipped the shares to me because, oh my gosh, they could get lost and all that. But the reality is, it was a FedEx package that arrived. I got it in the rain. Actually, it wasn't FedEx, it was a regular envelope. It was pouring down rain. So it got all wet. Everything was blurry except my certificate was clean. But what was good, Jennifer, as soon as I got it, I called the transfer agent, and the transfer agent already had a record of my ownership. So I think actually you don't have to be afraid that you're going to lose the certificates or lose your ownership. As soon as it's sent, it seems like an account is set up at the transfer agent, and all you have to do is type in your social security number, and it says, hello, you own 5,625 shares. Thank you. Or whatever it says. Well, thank you for putting time into that question and making it a full English sentence. I have no idea when it's going up, but I think GTII is working towards some good resolution, and you might see something happen there soon. But I don't know. I don't know. Russia's not our enemy. Russia's not our enemy. There's not a single place in the world where their resources conflict with ours. Hillary Clinton lost the election, and she decided to make Russia the enemy. Trump couldn't even talk to Putin. Russia is not our enemy. It's not our enemy. But we can make it one, and that's what we're doing. All right, here we go. All right, I got to put this stupid speaker on again. I had it ready, but then it fades away. No, it's all right.
Battery 100%. Connected to Phil's iPhone.
All right, now let's see. All right, your speaker is here, your speaker is working, and your audience is here.
All right, so again, fraud just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Yeah, I was talking with Ace before while I was driving around, and something's coming down. This thing is just too out of control, so brazen, everybody can see it. So I expect something's going to happen shortly. Again, just my gut feeling. Someone just gave me a cancer stock that's down 50%. Boeing's planes are falling out of the sky, and it's down, 30%. Why are they wiping out a company that cures cancer, that's working on a cure for cancer? They want to put it to zero already. It's $3 to $2 already, down 50%. It's always so damaging for any company that doesn't succeed in curing cancer in 3 minutes. For example, KNW took money from Lynn Partners. They're working on a glucose meter. The company's gonna be worthless. They don't care that people have diabetics that need to check their levels. They're just gonna wipe it out. So let's just help them push it out to zero already. What's the difference? Don't let the people that are investing in that company, I guarantee you, are all from Seattle. The CEO probably knows them. And he told everybody we're going to get the money. Investors bought the stock, and Lynch shorted them all to the stock because the only way they get their money back is converting into shares at a penny and collecting the spread. That's it. The company's not going to give them back money. They're spending the money to help make their meter work. And if they don't have a chance in hell to survive, you know, unless they hit grease lightning, it's going to zero, which I doubt that they have anything that can move that fast. So again, just watching the equity markets, you know, I posted the other day, learn how to trade the equity markets. And I gave you some of my ideas on the video. I told you to go through 2 or 3 trades on the dip to buy it for the run back up. And then I posted yesterday that it's going to reverse and that the trade's going to be to the short side. And the stock is now down 30. That's just from trading. You can see what they're doing and you learn how to trade. Okay, that's different. Investing in an idea or something that you believe in, you don't stand a chance in hell with these criminals controlling everything. And I can't believe this is going to continue. The SEC 100% knows what's going on. The FBI knows. The Secret Service knows. I don't understand it, how they're not arrested anybody yet. The CEO of PLTR is telling us guys like Jeff Easton, the Kramers, they're all doing cocaine. They're crackheads. You know what? I have to agree with that. And I said it before, William. Anybody trying to steal, rob a bank in broad daylight without a mask, it has to be a crackhead. You can't be any stupider than that, correct, William?
Or the policemen are on crack.
Well, something's crazy because these guys are just walking in and out of the vault. We're all looking at them, and no one's saying anything about it.
Yeah.
So it's obviously that these guys, the police, I think, are just looking at this thing and saying, these guys still trying to do this? And you get those law firms like Gibson Dunn that are very nice. They talk to the people at the SEC and give them and tipping off the criminals about what's going on at the SEC. And if you go back to that movie, The Big Short, remember the girl was at the pool? She goes, I work at the SEC, but I'm looking to get a job at Goldman.
Yeah.
She goes to the pool and says, oh, my friends are there from Goldman. I want to get a job with them. Those are the type of people that speak to Gibson Dunn, and they tell them about things that they're doing. This way they all know what's going on and no one gets caught off guard.
Yeah.
And like Pete from Philly always told you, they sell without fear, correct?
They sell without fear.
That's because they know the police, they're listening to the police scanners and they know the cops aren't coming.
It could be that they're getting high on their own supply and they've disconnected fear from their brain, but I think it is the cops don't do anything.
And that tells me that they are going to do something, okay? Because what I see on Twitter is nothing it was never like this. It's just out of control. Everyone's talking about it. People from all walks of life reach out to me. They're all talking about it, posting about it. It's too much. And I just think that someone's going to start getting around. I just got a gut feeling about it. I can't believe we've told everybody. There's not much more we can say. Everyone's been warned. Everyone's been told, and there's not much more you can say on that front. I think that, I'm watching the stock TELO. My friends own the whole thing. My friend knows the gentleman that bought the whole thing.
Wow.
And his friends have bought every share. Every day they buy every share. And these guys continue to sell it down. No matter what news the company puts out, it's 20 days old. They keep selling it down. It's impossible. The company's just releasing news that they want to extend your life. Who would want to short this stock when you want it to go up? Hopefully they get what I'm not even saying go up. At least stay sideways. Instead, they're trying to destroy it as fast as it can be. It's only 20 days old. They traded 23 days or something like that.
Right.
And they're selling it down. And what's the company want to do? help extend your life. Think about the people on the other side of this thing. Fuck that. We don't want to save our lives. Fuck our kids. Let the little rat bastards die. That's what they're saying. How do you go home and say that to your family? I don't get it. That's what you're dealing with. And these scumbags are money-hungry prick. All right?
Exactly.
And I know the area they come from. They have to navigate the financial system, have international ties. And you know what? I'm not going to be a racist, but I'm telling you, I know it's one fucking crew of people that are doing this. And it's a fucking disgrace.
Yeah.
They all deserve to go to jail. And that's how I feel about that. I had something I wanted to tell you, William. I just went blank for a second.
ZJYL, TELO.
I gave you TELO. That's what I wanted to tell you. GTII. It's not going to be Trento. I think it's going to be they're gonna merge an AI company in here. I don't know the terms of what they do. I have no idea. But that's what I'm hearing. So I don't know what it means. But I think that's what's going to happen here. Richard said that they were going to announce something in their quarterly at the end of the quarter, which is March 30th. I'm hearing it's going to be the AI deal, whatever that is, whatever it entails. I don't know. So maybe they found gold here. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Doesn't make a difference. The stock stays at 30 cents every day, in, out, at 30 cents. Never can go up, never can go down. They're just washing trades back and forth. You go to buy 10,000, they short it to you, and then they manipulate it back and forth, and they're holding it at 30 cents. Why? I don't know. I think the only thing I can come out of that, it's got something to do with Alpine, who's hiding all the fails to deliver somewhere, and that if there's any movement, it rings a bell or whistle and they get exposed more. That's all I can think about. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Who wouldn't want to short a stock at a higher price if you know it's going down? I told you before, they can't let these things go up because they have margin problems.
Right.
Why not let the stock go to 40, 50, 60, $1, whatever it's going to go? They're holding it in the same spot because they have failed to deliver. And just so people understand this, if someone asked me about that, if I buy 10,000 shares and I bought a naked shorted share, and then I turn around and I sell it, I'm selling a failed to deliver to the next person. Do you understand? So you actually become the naked short seller yourself. Because we're all selling IOUs. That's all it is. The whole system is flooded with IOUs.
As long as they put black and white entries on your account and they honor your trades as dollar amounts when you pull it out, no one cares.
Well, that's what the SEC says. The SEC will say, don't worry about it. In the end, it all works out. And what does that mean? Time is a killer, meaning that, William, after 2 years, you give up, you want to move on, you have to pay a bill, you sell your stock at the SEC. I told you it works out.
Yeah, you got your cash. We honored it. Yeah.
William gave up on his position. He sells it, so his position is now flat. That 10,000 that he bought. Yeah.
And if you decide to hold it for 20 years, that solves it for the system because you didn't use your stock. You never tested it. It's a perfect crime.
I don't know how they say this is the greatest market in the world. India, China, South Korea get my votes. They at least acknowledge the criminal activity and trying to stop it. India is going after Hindenburg because they tried to topple the government of India by, getting this major company in turmoil. Think about what they did. These companies and these massive companies in these countries help provide jobs and growth in their countries, whatever they're doing. How many industries do these companies own that they're worth $30, $40 billion? Like NVIDIA is worth $1 trillion. How powerful is NVIDIA? If NVIDIA speaks, everyone's going to listen. Well, in these other countries, whatever their NVIDIA is, they're getting attacked by people like Hindenburg from Pennsylvania, writing reports on a company in India who just came out of the blue. Hindenburg. They haven't been around 20 years. They're around 20 weeks. All of a sudden, Andrew Left disappeared. Hindenburg appeared. Does anyone see the pattern here? They just keep knighting somebody else to go out and be the leader. And they turn whoever Hindenburg is into a star. They give them the reports. They do the whole thing for you. And there you go. It's like when you go to college, William. You need a book report, you go buy it from somebody. That's what these guys are doing.
I never did that.
Oh, no, well, that's
I
what I
couldn't
did.
afford it. No, but I never did it.
That's what I did. There's no question about it. If there was an easy way, I was doing it because I wasn't a great student.
Is Ham the
Right.
new E.F. Slutton?
Yes. It's easy to write negative reports. You could say it all day long, all day long. Boeing has, if one more tire falls off the plane, you got an insider whistleblower got murdered in the streets. And who wants to own Boeing? It's in everybody's pension accounts. How are the pension funds not selling it? Go buy something else. Let them get straight. Why are you sitting around? They're sitting here. But if you owned a small cap and you get these terrible reports like Capybara, they write the company's a fraud, people bail out. But they don't bail out in Boeing. Why? Because they figure the government's going to come to the rescue and straighten it out. Now, we all need planes. I don't have a private plane. I need to fly on a Boeing plane to get someplace. So I'm hoping that they work. But you know what? At this point, if I had my money there, you got to move to the sidelines. Their software doesn't work. The insiders say they won't fly the plane, but yet Wall Street holds on to them and protects those companies. Every pension fund is standing tall like it's no big deal. Oh, it'll work out. This other small company I just posted, I can't remember the symbol. I don't know why it's down 50% today, but you know what? They had a setback in the trial, kill it. End of that company. And they're working on cancer. Kill that company. Don't give them another shot. Let's drive it to zero so we don't have to pay taxes and fuck everybody. Okay, that's the stock market as I see it. I lay it out for you. If you can see it yourself, I have no investment in this company. But I do know people who have cancer. I do know people who are dying of cancer. I know a gentleman that's dying right now with stomach cancer, being tortured to death. It's a slow death. But no one cares about that. It's okay. These pricks think they're going to take the money with them. They don't care. Any questions, William?
How confident are we? Oh, shoot.
I'm very confident.
That the dividend distribution will create buying pressure. And I assume this is about Finger.
Finger Motion has to file the dividend information with the SEC. And when we met the CEO, they said that would move along quickly. So it's got to be soon. You know, what was it, a month ago we met with them? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
So they said they have to file it. The lawyers have to approve it. They have to file it with the SEC. I guess it's a S3. I can't remember what it was. The technical term for it. But we have to assume that's coming. They made the statement. They made the public statement, so it's got to be coming.
All right, I'll let you answer this question. Drives me crazy. Where is the GTII dividend?
But where is the what?
The GTII dividend.
Up your ass to the left. I don't know.
It's already been issued. It's in your account.
The company issued it. They gave out all the shares. If your brokerage firm doesn't have it, they're lying to you. It's very easy. That's why you do the dividends, to expose Wall Street. Now you need to go get
There is a
Perry
form.
Mason.
If you're at E-Trade, there's a form you have to go to the website, pull down this button, click this one, click that, print it out, sign it, send it back in. And I forget. Anyway, there's a form you have to fill out at E-Trade.
Every company does dividends, and it's smooth as pie. Once you confront them and trap them, look what happens. MMTLP is a fucking dividend for the 1,000th time. Clean your fucking ears. It's the dividend. And what happened to the dividend? Everybody's fucked because they fucked Wall Street with that dividend. That's what happens. A dividend exposes the criminals. And look at MMTLP. That is a dividend. It's nothing else but a dividend. It's a complete nothing. And they turned it into the biggest shit show in creation. And GTII was ahead of MMTLP by issuing the dividends. And that's how you trap them. It's musical chairs. You stop the music. The record date, you stop the music. Everyone who owns it on a certain date is entitled to the dividend. Your brokerage firm gets a dividend from the public company, and they distribute it. If there's 100 people and they have dividends for 10, 90 don't get anything. 90 people like you who just asked the question get nothing because you own a counterfeit share, and your broker, whether it's E-Trade, whoever it is, Ameritrade, is sitting here, and they took the liability to the short seller, and now they're taking it out on you. Instead of going after the short seller, they take it out on you. And there you go.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to comment that on 5/28, the market is going to go to one-day settlement? Is that going to make a difference?
It's fantastic. What is it right now, William?
I don't know. T+2? I don't know.
So they're going to go to T+1.
Yeah.
And that's going to make it all better. They can make it T plus 30 seconds. The SEC just continues to lie to everybody. The key is, how come they never enforce anything? If GameStop has unsettled trades for 3 years, does T+1 make a difference?
Well, I think they'll follow the rules at T+1, not T+3 or T+2.
Yeah, the T+1, they'll be all over it. They're going to start doing it immediately.
Are you all right?
Listen, the SEC, if you just read the nonsense that the SEC puts on Twitter, every day they do something that is beneficial for investors. All they do is hype all the bullshit they're going to do to help us. We're going to get you a better pricing when you buy the stock. We're going to save you on commission. We're going to make sure this, that, the other thing. Everything they do. So you're paying no commission. Meanwhile, they're robbing your investment. That's what they do. And he keeps lying. He never, ever addresses unsettled trades. They never talk about GameStop. GameStop cost people billions of dollars on the short side. It was the biggest short squeeze in years. They talked about it. It ended. They shut it down. Have you ever seen it in the newspaper again?
No.
No one will even report on it. Like it never happened. How did it happen? That's all anybody should ask them. How did this possibly happen? No one says a word about it. Nothing. GameStop was just one of many that it's happened to before. For example, a Chinese company, HOLO, it went from 2 to 100. No one said anything about it. You telling me investors were buying it from 2 to 100 or shorts were trying to cover? ZJYL went from $20 to $3.25. The shorts are trying to stop what's going to happen at the end. It's still at $5 times 20, still 100. There's still $80 under the weather, on the water, excuse me.
ZJYL, will they be compliant today? The answer is yes, they already are compliant. The whole
That's
issue,
something, listen, everyone, listen. We all look at this stuff and we talk about it, but there's the information that comes out. If you're following ZJYL, when you take the time to just find out if they're compliant yourself,
yeah.
I mean, they have to be compliant. Go look.
My opinion, the stock right now is 515. We're in a speculative business. You shouldn't be worried about selling right now. This is an opportunity to add to your position. That's not financial advice, but $5 is a launching pad, not a sell-off, in my opinion, in ZJYL. And even T-Low's down. You could, that's another one maybe to add to.
T-Low came out with news today, and from what I
626.
gather, whatever they're working on to enhance our life, I hear it's working.
Yeah.
So I would love to get my hands on the pills.
But that
whatever
needs
it
to
may
be shorted out of existence if it's helping us,
Yeah,
right?
It's only 20 days they're trying to short it out of existence.
Yeah,
20
yeah.
days.
I mean,
So
wouldn't it
the
be
people
great
here,
to be
listen,
God? You could
listen,
call
let me-
yourself Jeff Easton and you could be God,
Right.
or you call yourself Seth Kramer,
Listen, William.
a
stop
mini
for a
God.
second. Wait, let me just speak for 1 minute.
All right.
Everyone, we're reporting on different names to show you different things. Again, I'm not, again, Fidelity Management, I could buy every position, but I can talk about them and look at them. TELO happens to be something special. It actually had a short squeeze already to 23 and pulled back. All right. It went down, it opened at 7, went down to 5, 4.5, and then it went to 23 back here. The shorts are all over this crazy, stupid name. I don't know why, but that's what they're doing. I'm trying to show you that security fraud is just not GTII and finger motion or MMTLP. It's not just 3 names. PLTR is a major insurance company. I'm showing you, everybody's talking about it. This is not a joke anymore. This is your livelihood, your pension money, your kids. I'm trying to educate you. If you don't care and you don't want to do any homework, then don't listen to the calls. This is not a comedy show. We're not Abbott and Costello here. I waste my time trying to help you. You got to do a little homework yourself. When I sit down, I review as much as I can. I can't remember it all. I'm not trading these things. And when I said in ZJYL, if you owned one share, you get to see what happens with a forward split. Forward splits do not go to 0. Reverse splits go to 0. I taught you that. The stock popped up. The shorts are attacking it like crazy. Why? Because they're trapped. That's the only reason you're seeing this type of activity. When a company does a reverse, CRT did a reverse, 500 to 1. The stock is worth 2 cents. 2 cents from the past. I had my daughter sell it at 1 cent. I told her it was worthless. The stock popped up. I know people that are buying it because they're doing stuff with the CEO. I don't really give a shit what that CEO does. So again, the person who said that yesterday, oh, it's $9. My friends are buying it. What are they going to do with it? There's no stock in the company. I don't believe in that guy. I don't care if it went to 100. If it went to 100, we get even. It's 2 cents at $9. 2 cents. The guy reversed it. He reversed it not 10 to 1, 20, 500 to 1. There's 300,000 shares in the whole company, and the big players own it all. There's no one even here anymore. Of course, it looks like a stellar performer. There's no shares. And the short sellers, like Jeffrey Easton, converted his debt into stock. So he's one of those 300,000 shares. And they're helping push it up because he shorted it, covered all his shorts already, thanks to that company reversing it. And now he's trying to make money on his debt. You want to get in the middle of that? Good luck. Just shows you the criminals that are here. And they think that what they do, we can't figure it out. I just can't keep chasing them all day long. That's not my job. Some smart ass asked me what happened to the Secret Service. You do realize that people that are shareholders introduced me to the Secret Service.
They're keeping it
Not
secret.
me. Well, they questioned me like I did. Like I made it up. There's shareholders that know. Ace knows the guy who introduced us. Okay, people know. Wasn't me. I didn't say I knew the Secret Service. I was introduced to them. And I did my part of reporting a crime to the Secret Service. So don't call me out and ask me what they're doing. What the hell do I know what they're doing? We reported to the FBI, the Secret Service. This whole country's a mess. How no one has operated or jumped on this stuff immediately is just amazing, which tells me there's a lot deeper than we think. And I think that they will eventually grab a whole bunch of people.
Who's Abbott? That's a serious question.
What's that?
Somebody asked, who's Abbott? I guess you
Abbott?
said Abbott and Costello. I don't know.
I'm Abbott. Hey, Abbott.
And
Listen, again, we're here just to discuss, again, stocks that we look at, see the fraud, what's going on, and we try to highlight it. What else can I see? If you can't see the manipulation every day in GTII, it's remarkable. Let's see the company come out. Richard had contacted the company and he said they're going to put it out in the end of this month. So
Richard is the man.
If something comes out good from the company, now the company has the floor. Maybe the floor is 40 cents. Maybe the floor is 20 cents. At least we know that the company has a chance to survive. Finger
Right.
Motion has checked all those boxes, has checked all the boxes as far as business, has checked the boxes as far as funding, has checked the boxes on a whole bunch of things, right? Very different companies. TELO is a new company working on extending your life. I know the guy that bought all the stuff. What else can I say?
That's a horrible business plan, working on extending lives.
Right. So let me ask you, everyone, if you were to go public, would you like to say you're building you got a new pencil? Or would you like to say, I want to cure someone's life, keep their life going?
That's obviously something to short. I mean, extending lives is a bad business plan.
KNW is making a meter to check for your people's their glucose levels. How many companies do that? There's got to be 50 of them, right? What chances does this company have to survive? Zero and none. Short the shit out of it. I'm not allowed to do it, or else I'd kill it myself. Right? Who wants to save? I'm talking like a short. These guys got a glucose meter. Short the shit out of it. There's got to be 50 companies that do this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, William?
Mm-hmm.
So why are we gonna kill it? No one's gonna defend this company. Lynn Partners is here. What do you think they're doing? They're pumping up the old diabetes the meter so that they can save people. They're gonna kill it.
Lynn Partners is a force for good in this world.
Well, I'm just giving you how I see them operating. That this company
And I'm
is
being
doing
a jerk.
something that everyone who has diabetes wants it to work. Right? They all want it to something better to help their life.
Right.
Lynn Partners doesn't give a shit about it. They're just going to kill it. They're going to short. I think we did the math on it. They do $12 million note. What is it? Like 1 billion shares. They get to short 1 billion shares and cover at a penny. And if they don't cover, it goes to zero. They just write it off. No big deal. We lost $12 million. We're good guys. Meanwhile, they short, 1 billion shares at 40 cents. That's what they're trying to do. That's all it is. They're holding it up. I wouldn't be surprised they shorted it at 90, trying to buy some here to hold it up. Hopefully the company could come out with some good news and get some more people to come, suckers to come in and buy it. That's what they're trying to do. The company should come out 100%, KNW, the CEO should come out and acknowledge what's going on with Lit Partners and their track record. But he hasn't, because he wants that money to try to keep his business going. I got it. The guy's not a criminal. He just got taken to the cleaners by the criminals. That's the game. Everybody here looks at it like the companies are criminals. The companies aren't criminals. They think the system is protecting them. The system does nothing but hurt them.
The system is
The
set up
SEC.
to slaughter.
The SEC is supposed to protect you. They don't protect you. All the SEC does is make sure you got your filings. You make one mistake in your filing and they're on top of you. Or the short sellers call you up. Once they get upside down, the short sellers call the SEC up, but we're going to investigate this company. It's the same thing. It's like the police guarding the hen house. What more can you say, right? Or the fox guarding the hen house, right?
Yeah. Several people have asked or wished that your son is okay. How's your son doing?
Hopefully tomorrow we get out of here.
Which is good to hear. And one gentleman is asking, in spite of the fact that you've had to attend to your son, have you had time to study OCGN?
I know the name. I can't remember. I have notes on that somewhere. I have a notebook at home on all the names.
I think
and
it's called
notes on it.
Occugen. Occugen.
I know the symbol. I have notes on it, maybe from a year ago. I don't remember what I wrote down. I haven't been home, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, could you kindly get home and address this gentleman's question? He's a good guy. I'm just teasing.
No. I know the symbol. I know it. If you put ham short killer OCGN, I guarantee you I spoke about it. If you just, someone could search that, go at ham short killer on Twitter and put OCGN, see what I said about it. I know I spoke about it.
Okay.
I just sent Ace a picture of the UN in case he's never been to New York and hasn't seen it.
My client used to own an apartment, 2 of them, I think, directly across the street from the UN in that big building. I was kind of on a diagonal, but it's that big, beautiful buildings. I stayed there. It's great.
I was staying at the Hilton, the Millennium, right across the street from the UN.
Yeah, it's a great part of town.
There's no people there. There's no one. I walk around at night. There's no one here. I don't know. Where are all the people? I don't know.
I like museums when there's no people there.
All I know is that most New Yorkers are riding around bicycles on city bike with no helmets on. And I keep shaking my head. These people think that they're in the countryside. They're in Manhattan where people are making left turns, right turns. It's out of control. It's okay. Let them all. See you later.
I don't know if I think this is hopeful. One gentleman's asking, do you think this all ends if Trump's elected and Pat Burns becomes?
Pat Burns is an ace. If you think I hate the naked shorts, he hates them more. He's just caught up in the political thing now. Pat Burns is a genius. Okay. He's not a stock trader. He's an intellectual. He's a type of guy. He's like light years ahead of us. He's like Spock from Star Trek. That's how smart this guy is. And he jumped into the political thing and he got in all the way up to Trump. He was in the last days with Trump in the White House, telling him how they're ripping him off, showing him he hired his own team of hackers to figure out how they were hacking the ballots and all that nonsense. That's Pat Burns. And once he starts, he doesn't stop. He's just relentless. He's like all of us. He's relentless. So Pat Byrne was on the call, and he said it. When Donald Trump gets in, I'll end naked short selling. Within 2 weeks, he'll go after it. And now he's entrenched in Trump's camp. Okay, he's not someone that just knocked on Trump's door. That happened at the end of when they were figuring out Trump was getting robbed. Now Pat Byrne's been here for 4 years straight fighting, and now I'm sure that he has regular meetings with Trump, and he's been basically, he's in the camp. So let him get into office. If people don't want to vote for him, then you're just voting to get robbed. I don't care if you hate the fucking guy. I don't want to be robbed anymore. Besides the streets being unsafe, now we have to worry about the equity markets. Everyone's financial history is going to be wiped out here unless you do something. You can only get robbed so many times before you have nothing left. Am I correct?
Hey, we don't want a dictator.
Think about it. If GTI would have done like we said, and Alpine didn't commit security fraud, defrauding the DTC, everybody, the stock would have went to wherever it would have went. We could have taken that money, bought a finger motion would have went, and you just could have made a lot of money. Everybody just rolling along. But instead, we're fighting the whole system of criminals, and they're holding down. There's not one of us. There's thousands of us, millions of us that want to get a better life for you, your kids, get a house, do whatever you have to do, travel, enjoy life. But they just keep robbing us. What are you supposed to say? I don't care what color you are, white, black, green, Chinese, yellow. It doesn't make a difference. They rob everybody. Link Partners is a racist. They're stealing from minorities, as far as I'm concerned. Where's Al Sharpton? Where is everybody? We have minorities that own the stock. They steal from the elderly, William.
Well, they're equal opportunity thieves.
I'm just saying that they think they're taking money from people that are 18 to 40. There's people that are older than 65 here. There's people that are minorities. There's people here that are dishwashers that maybe bought 10 shares or 1,000 shares or whatever it may be. Mechanics, this one, a military. They don't care. They steal from the people that protect the country. They steal from them. They don't even care. They steal from the police, the fire. When your house is burning down, who comes and gets you? The fireman. When you get in a car crash, who's there? The fireman to save your life. They don't care. I don't understand it, but they don't care. They're lucky I'm not a fireman, a cop. Because if I pulled you over, or if your house was on fire, I'm going to say, what do you do? Oh, who are you? I'm Jeffrey Easton of Lynn Partners. Fuck you. Let the place burn down. Throw him back in. That would be me. Throw the fucker back in the house. Criminals. How many companies this guy's destroyed? How many lives did he ruin? He don't even care. You think he would disappear? We found out about him and we exposed him, and he's standing here still trying to lend money out, just like the Kramers walking around at the trade show looking for a victim. They're walking around looking for a victim. I told you I knew mafia guys. When their name was mentioned, they disappear. Oh, we heard blank's looking for you. The FBI was around looking for you. Boom, the guy's gone. These guys stand out loud. They don't even care. Which to me is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. I know they're not tougher for them, the gangsters, but they sure have balls of steel, meaning that the SEC and their lawyers are looking, they're getting a tip from the police. What's going on? That's the only thing I can think of.
Tomorrow is quad witching. What do you have any predictions?
Well, whatever they're doing today, they'll do the opposite tomorrow, is what I think. So if the market's down today, it'll go up tomorrow. It's always a head fake on these option things. I don't know. Is the market still down? I have no idea.
Market is. I got it here. No, I got to find our dashboard. Market is down.
So they took down the video. I think IBM was down. I posted a bunch of them. Costco was down. So, and Apple was up 3 points today. Goldman Sachs was down. JP Morgan was down. I think Chevron was up. So they'll try to balance it out. So Apple's turned up. So Apple may be the new leader. They may, NVIDIA rallies back tomorrow into option expiration. They'll get rid of all those 900 calls that they sold, and they'll wipe that out.
There's several questions on a trip to South Korea, as you call it, Korea.
Yes, I've been telling you that I've had to hesitate.
Well, you've had your son to deal with, number one. That's
what it is. It's the only thing, the surgery was moved back by the doctor. We're dealing with a world-renowned surgeon who asked us to move back his surgery, and we did. So I went back from where I was going to leave. I should have been gone by now, but the surgery was moved to now, so I have to move it back again. So there's nothing I can do. Believe me, I'm dying to go, but I can't go. And if anyone's asking, why wouldn't I go? They just cut my son's skull open, took out a piece of his skull, and replaced it. He had a titanium skull. They put in a plastic 3D. So I don't think I can leave the country while that type of stuff was going on. I don't think anybody else would leave their family and go do that, and I would never do that.
God bless him.
Hey, he's alive. He's well. We watch TV. We go to football games. We go to dinner. So that's all you can ask for. Life throws us curveballs. You got to pick your pants up and fight. Some people can't handle it and they quit. That's not me. We make the best of it and we keep going on. And I'll say it again to any scumbag that's here. Fuck you. I'm not going anywhere. You got the wrong guy. I have nothing to lose anymore. I'm only going forward. So wherever I have to go to get this thing exposed and make it happen, I'm going to do my best. And that's it. I'm too old. I don't give a flying shit anymore. I've seen too much in life, and I really don't care. That's it. We all want to make money. I have good friends that have helped my family out for a long time. I make money. I made money, lose money. That's just like everybody else. But I'm here to expose the crime. I've been doing it for 24 years. And for some reason, I'm still doing it. And now that my son was injured, now I work harder. And that's why I've been working harder for the last 6 years. I could have walked away and said, screw this, but I didn't. So for some reason, someone's telling me we kept you alive, your son alive for a reason. And for that, I'm grateful, and I will continue fighting because that was a message sent to me, and that's how I feel. And I'm sure most people on this call would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And trust me, it sucks that I have to sit here and watch it. And it sucks that I have to answer your questions, that you're getting robbed. I got it. All I can tell you is the sale tickets aren't coming from me. I can guarantee you that. The criminals are doing it. I'm just reading the news, showing you what they do. We've had tremendous support from all types of people finding stories from the guy Pronounced, who's been here a long time. Other people have quit that were here. I got it. They moved on. I've been doing it 24 years. I got it. I know many people. Friends of mine have died that were standing here with signs. I put his picture up all the time. I have many other friends passed away. Heart attacks, cancer, whatever it may be. So there's been people fighting way before anybody here came along. And they followed me. It's the same story. It hasn't changed. If the story changes, naked short selling into some morphed into something else, then shame on me. But it hasn't. It's only gotten worse. And it's only gotten stronger because people at GameStop know it. People at AMC know it. MMTLP knows it. GTI, Fingermore, blah, 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 blah. CVM, Northwest Bio, keep going. PLTR throwing his hat in the ring, the CEO. It's about time. How about the poor people at Root who I spoke with? The stock went I don't even know what it's valued at now, but it went to 47 today. They did the reverse, the whole nonsense. It was $7. The company came out, they were losing less money. Their revenue went up, but they're losing, I think they lost only 7 million the last quarter. The stock went from 7 to 47. That's what I expect to see in finger motion. That's my gut. That's what I expect. You're going to get a squeeze like that. Now, if the naked shorts get trampled in the middle of it, it's going to be 20 times bigger than that. But that's the type of move. That's the type of thing that's going to set finger motion on fire. Is what their revenue is going to go up big. They're going to be profitable. Things like that will make it take off, and that'll ignite the fire. William, what did my friend say about the shorts when the company starts producing? It goes cash flow positive. What happens?
They run away.
There you go. That's what happened with Root. But they destroyed Root already. Root was destroyed already. It's $7 billion IPO at $43. William, I don't know what hold on a second, Mary, I can figure it out. Give me 1 second.
Glad you're figuring it out.
It was a $7 to $8 or $10 billion market cap stock. After the reverse and the run to $46, $47, it's $675 million. You tell me. It was 7 to 10 billion. Now it's 700 million. Does that seem fair?
Well,
How many
now
people
the shorts will come in and be the rescuers and go long.
Well, that's what they're doing now. That's what's going on in Root now.
Yeah.
It's still only $700 million, and the stock has gone up from 7 to 47. How's that one?
One guy here that Lion is saying that AMC's on a launch pad. I don't know. I think AMC and GME are totally under control.
Right.
But I don't know. You may not have anything to say on those.
What's that?
And what?
2 minutes?
You have to go?
They're closing it up. Man,
You have to
but a
go?
hostile strict. So what were you saying?
It's 4:00, so you can go. Just somebody
It's 4
talking
o'clock.
about
I didn't know
AMC.
about that.
Talking about AMC.
AMC, listen, that CEO jerked everybody around. I told you I put a photo of him and our friends and his son at the Kansas City football game. And we asked him point blank to do something to fight back, and he had no interest. I put it up on Twitter. I said it to everybody. I said, this guy has no interest in helping everybody out. I can't believe it's 4 o'clock already.
It's 4:00 and everything is, well, ZJYL's up 10 cents in the aftermarket. But everything's it was a pretty red day today. But
Right. Anyway, listen, let me run back. But
all
listen, have a great night. And I'll speak to you
Thank you,
tomorrow.
him. All right, bye.
You got it. Thank you.
Call ended.
All right, guys. I don't know how much longer I'll go on here. Went from 5 to 6. I think that's true that they can't let their foot off the landmine. But I actually think these stocks, there's a bit of rope-a-dope going on in TLO, ZJYL, even GDC. They're letting the shorts hang themselves. And I think all three may run. Sounds like there's some potential catalyst in GTII for the good. And Finger, of course, has the 3 or 4 things that haven't changed that should be revealed over the next weeks. for the upside. And I like this one gentleman's point. Let me see if I can find it, because it's not a stock that anyone's really in, as far as I know. I gotta find it here. Is this it? Yeah. We're going to get a if you own HNRC, we're going to get the distribution of HNRA stock this year. I think soon, but technically it could be all year. And I'm going to listen to that interview, and I'll try to. Somebody told me he did another interview. But anyway, I think HNRA is a tremendous situation to watch. It was a SPAC. They de-SPAC'd it. They took it from $12 down to $2 to be rough numbers. And after they destroyed it, I believe with naked short selling, they went to the CEO, convinced him to raise money at $2 roughly. I think he put 18 million shares out there, something like that. But that's all done now. So good on them. They stole in the open, right out in front of everybody. No one cares, but at least it's over with. At least it's over with. And in the case of HNRA, you have an asset that, even with the denominator being increased by 18 million shares, this is my memory. I'll try to do a more careful video on it. It should be worth $15 a share, and it's proven. There's very little risk in HNRA of seeing the stock go to that, say, $10, $12, $15 level. The only real risk is if oil prices suddenly went to zero again. But I don't really see that. I actually think we're probably going to war. PI day, I don't know what that means. Pizza day? Pi day. Oh, Pi day. Is it the letter pi? The number pi? Let's see what Kitty says. Just bounced off a major support. It'll be hard to drive them down. Yeah, I actually think it's letting the shorts hang by their own petard. It's gonna the free float in HNRA. I don't know. Let me look. I don't know the answer. Hard to borrow. Hard to borrow. I don't know what the float is. Let me look on let's look on OTC markets. Each site has a different calculation sometimes, but let me see what it says. It used to be very low, but they did this offering, and I think you have to adjust for the offering. Outstanding shares 7.5 million, but like I say, they just did an offering. And it says the float is not available. I really don't know what the float is, Dean. I'll have to try to figure that out. I don't know the answer. I assume it's very low. Even the offering that was recently done, it's the Ides of March. Yesterday somebody said that Caesar was killed in 44 before the century, before the modern era. So I wonder how many years have gone by since Caesar was killed. That's a pretty amazing life, that out of all those millions of people alive then, we still remember him. Um, all right. That's interesting. Thank you. Yeah, there's a form to fill out. I was walking, I think, when I listened to the guy. So, but apparently you have to sign into E-Trade on the website, not on your app. And you have to go up to something called forms, and then you scroll down and there's a form where you have to fill out requesting that the dividend be issued to you or the restriction be lifted off. I never did it yet. Maybe what I'll do is try to do it before I come on live tomorrow, Tom, so I can tell you how it's done exactly. That's what I'll do. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll call in again, do it tomorrow, and I'll be able to tell you exactly. But apparently, it's pretty easy to find. At least the guy made it sound like it's easy. So that's what I'll do for tomorrow. I'll have that done. All right, everybody. I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness to all. Let's remember to say prayers for Ham's son and his family. Say prayers for everybody. This is Ramadan right now, so you can say prayers for your friends who are in the middle of their fasting, and pray for peace. Pray for Jenny L. Pray for that teenager who had her head bashed on the sidewalk. Pray for the little boy on the bus that got beaten up, 7 years old. I mean, there's just so much in the world going on. Just pray for these people who are hurt. And we'll catch you tomorrow. So, ciao.